Hello, Bible readers. It is Tuesday, October 27th. We're reading from the book of Judges 4 through 6 and Luke chapter 20, verses 1 through 26. Judges, I'm going to start with our Old Testament reading. There are going to be 6 major judge stories and 6 minor. See how many that is? 12 is a big number in the Old Testament. As we know, the tribes, the sons, the judges, the disciples will be 12. 12 is a number Scripture uses a lot to represent the people of God, the Israelites, and how God works through God's covenant in this relationship. A pattern is set here in Judges where with each judge, it's like a generation, and as the generations go on, the generations are going to experience a downward spiral regarding their political, their religious, and their social leadership. It all starts to crumble, judge by judge. But not just the leadership, but also their faith in God crumbles, their social unity crumbles. It is a story I think many of us could resonate with as Americans, as many of us, I've heard from many of you, and I feel it sometimes myself, about how our leadership, our nation's faith in God, our nation's social unity, all of them seem to be definitely different, maybe lesser than what they used to be. And so when crisis happens, a judge pops up. That's going to be the pattern we're going to see throughout this book. Othniel is the first one. He stands apart from all the other judges because of how faithful he is. He is the standard of a proper judge. But this system of a judge creates and maintains peace for a certain amount of time, and then that peace kind of goes away, and then another judge rises up, and then after that peace and times of settlement, it comes another crisis. That yo-yo faithfulness, it's not going to work. It's not going to be able to be sustained. God is still working in and through a judge like Othniel and those to follow, but it will get less and less effective over time, you could say. Another piece I wanted to address is the role of the Spirit of the Lord. This is an interesting concept because, again, this is something that our church would think about, talk about. Just because special powers are gifted to someone who is a judge, that doesn't mean they can't use those powers selfishly. Leadership that claims to be legitimate can't just be charismatic, but it needs to be checked by Scripture, by conformity to tradition, by other voices in and outside the community. It's interesting to think, so how does a judge rise up? Who has to agree that this person should be serve in this role? We in the church, for pastors, for ordained people, we talk about an inner call and an outer call. That there might be an individual who feels called to serve in a certain way. The community then needs to affirm that inner call, and that community's call is the outer call. The next piece, God uses a fat Moabite king to punish Israel for their faithlessness, and then uses that same Moabite group with that king to raise up Ehud, an unexpected turn. This is not just a mechanical God. This is a relational God where there are unexpected twists and turns throughout the book of Judges. And then we've got the victorious and faithful judge phase. That's what these first 3 chapters really highlight is the victorious and faithful judges. It continues with Deborah, notice a female judge, Barak and Jael. Now we've got some stories. We're into a part of the Old Testament where there's some stories happening. This is a little easier reading, so keep at it. Luke, I'm just going to say a couple things. Jesus gets into lots of controversies with the leaders of the temple. It is God's prophet versus worldly leaders. That's the way Luke has set this up. And their question for Jesus is, are you a prophet or are you a troublemaker? Where does your authority come from? What are you doing here? What wisdom do you have? And of course, what they haven't remembered is prophets are troublemakers, especially to those in power who are corrupt and serving themselves. And so the leaders don't like where Jesus takes their conversations. Jesus belittles them, embarrasses them in front of everyone. Jesus is aggressively political, and of course, they're going to kill him for it. I am one with my God. My God is with us, all of us, at all times and in all places.